Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So in this one, I want to talk about some more of the teaser trailers and stuff like that we got for episode 20, which is titled Splinter. It is our first episode really dealing with the Commonwealth. I'm excited for it. This is like my second most hyped episode, I would say, of these six. The first one being Here's Negan. I don't know what to really expect from it. We'll talk about that in a second, about it being from Princess's point of view, because I didn't really talk about it too much in my last video, and in this teaser here, or I guess the opening minutes, like we do get into that quite a bit. I also want to talk about Dwayne Jones, but I'll save that towards the end. So obviously, before we go any further, this will contain spoilers for last night's episode of The Walking Dead, if I do talk about it anyways. And if you are new here, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this. Now, whenever I say Princess's point of view, obviously what I'm referencing is the fact that in most of the teasers and trailers that we got for this episode, we're usually focusing on Princess and just what she's going through, her experiences, and just really her personality. And the synopsis also really hints that this is going to be largely focused on Princess. Now, I don't know how much it's going to be. Like, yeah, we are focused on the Princess a lot, but I don't know if it's going to be a full-on backstory episode, right? Like, are we going to get footage from Princess and just what she's been up to, say, leading to her, I guess, being alone in Pittsburgh, I think is where they found her. She was in some city anyways. In the comic, I'm pretty sure it was Pittsburgh, but yeah, she was completely alone there, and she just resorted to humor and a bunch of other things to kind of deal with her own, like, mental issues. And that's why Eugene, Ezekiel, and Yumiko found all of the walkers dressed up and stuff like that. That was Princess. She was alone. That's how she dealt with her mental issues, right? And so because this episode is going to be really like a Princess episode, are we getting a lot of backstory stuff? We haven't seen any teasers for it. And usually if it was something like that, at least I would expect that you would get something like that. Like, we just haven't seen any Princess, like, I guess, meeting everyone backstory stuff, right? So in terms of it being a Princess episode, I think it's focusing more on her point of view, more on her, like, mental issues and stuff that she deals with. But I don't think it's going to be full-on backstory where we actually go back in the past, maybe to, like, pre-apocalypse, maybe to a few years back, and we see her trying to survive. Maybe she was with a different group, this and that. I don't think it's necessarily going to be that, but I'm just trying to think of really the general plot and, like, flow of this episode, because we know in the opening minutes, like, and we'll talk about that in a second, but basically it is just that they get captured and thrown in these train cars. Afterwards, after the opening minutes, they likely wake up pretty much right away. It's the morning and they're trying to escape, and then I think Princess is going to escape, but is captured by the Commonwealth, taken in and interviewed by Lance Hornsby. There we'll learn a little bit more about the Commonwealth. I'm sure we'll get some tidbits of information, not a lot, because I'm sure Lance Hornsby is going to be the one asking the questions, right? We'll get some scenes there. And then I think the last scene that we have is this shot here of Princess leaving I guess wherever she was being interviewed, and we have the rest of the group, Yumiko, Eugene, and Ezekiel, standing there on the ground. Is this towards the end of the episode? Most likely. And so what happens here? Obviously, they are taken to the Commonwealth. They aren't just left here. They're taken there. And that's where I hope we get more stuff. Like, that's my worry, is that this is just the episode, is literally just what we know, and it won't be as entertaining. Like, I don't really have an issue with Princess. Like, I don't have an issue with the character. It's just that I want to get into the Commonwealth stuff already. I don't want to be doing backstory stuff like that, but it's just these 6 episodes, right? Like, that's kind of the focus of them, and so I'm expecting this one to be more of a Princess therapy session. And it's not necessarily bad, but it's not that fun. I guess it could be a really good episode. It's not fun because we're not getting some of the Commonwealth stuff that from the comic that I really want to see right now, and I think it would help with this excitement I have for the final season, because I really can't wait for the final season to air. It sucks that we have to wait so long, but, you know, I guess the good thing about that is that it is coming out in the summer now, not in the fall, but it's hopefully we get some more Commonwealth stuff. We do see Yumiko take a beating, and yeah, that's pretty savage. I guess that's why Princess is worried about her, right? Like, in a lot of the footage, we see her constantly asking about Yumiko, so yeah, she's worried about her. And that's basically the gist of the first, or I guess the opening minutes. It's just they're held captive by the Commonwealth. They are put in the train cars, and we will see Princess escape. We'll see her try and run away. She'll get captured and then interviewed by Lance Hornsby. Hopefully, by the time they're done the interview, it's like halfway through the episode, and then we get into some more stuff with, like, traveling there or something. My worry is that it basically ends with some revelation about Princess and some kind of like therapy breakthrough, basically, right? Yeah, it's just because there's a lot of exciting things you can do once you get there. And I know we're not going to get into it right away. I just want to see a little bit of it, right? Like get a tease of the Commonwealth, because, well, what the hell happened to my voice there? But this is kind of where the Dwayne Jones idea comes in. I made a video on this like 2 years ago. It was quite a while ago, and I theorized basically that maybe Dwayne Jones could return. Maybe Morgan didn't see him die, because he was pretty crazy. And if you actually think about the Clear episode, Morgan didn't even know who Rick was, right? Like, he was so delusional. But the thing is that as shocking of a moment as that would be, Morgan's not on the show, and it's not even that. Like, when you actually think about the scene in last night's episode of The Walking Dead with Gabriel acknowledging how expensive that whiskey was, that it was a very popular brand, but obviously very expensive. That's the thing. He acknowledges the brand. He acknowledges that Dwayne Jones is like a very, I guess, elite and prestige brand of whiskey. So because he acknowledged it, it'd be a little weird, right? To reference something like that. And then he comes back. It's just like The Walking Dead does a lot of Easter eggs like this. They'll do things like that. And besides, Dwayne Jones, like, that is a reference to the character Dwayne Jones, but it's also a reference to the character from Night of the Living Dead, which is George A. Romero's movie, which the character Dwayne Jones on The Walking Dead and Morgan Jones, like, their last name and the character is a reference to Dwayne Jones from Night of the Living Dead anyways, but I just don't think it is possible. I made a video talking about the Wall of the Lost, and if Morgan was there with them, then I would be going pretty crazy right now, because it would probably tease that, right? But at this point, I just don't really see it. Unless Morgan can come back somehow. If there was a way for Morgan to be here in this final season, then maybe. I don't know. I don't have my hopes up for that. I want him to come back to the show. That's the thing. Him going to Fear the Walking Dead and Dwight going there was supposed to be like this crossover event, right? The crossover event was supposed to end at some point. It's not really a crossover event if he's just gone now. And he left so long ago in season 8. Like, I miss the character already. I want him back on the show, especially since it's ending. You can go back to Fear if you want afterwards. If you want, have Fear the Walking Dead take place post The Walking Dead, right? Like, have the timeline more connected with, I guess, the Commonwealth story and what's going on there, because they do a time jump of like 20-25 years. So there's like an unlimited amount of material you could do there with Fear the Walking Dead. I just think that Morgan has to come back, same with Dwight, and especially with the Commonwealth arc, there's a very good chance you can do that. But because he's not back yet, I just don't think Dwayne Jones is going to be a thing. And so that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I'm getting a lot of questions about that. We're just a little too close to it where I just don't think it's possible. I just really, unless maybe Dwayne Jones put a picture up of like his dad and said, "Have you seen my dad?" And it's a picture of Morgan. But like, then they have to try and find Morgan, and Morgan, like, how would they even know, right? Morgan's been gone for years. They haven't seen him in like 6-7 years. So it's like, yeah, Ezekiel is there. And if Ezekiel saw that, because Ezekiel knows Morgan, right? So if Ezekiel saw that, he would be like, wait, what? So there's that, but Morgan's not around. So that's why I don't really think much of the Dwayne Jones thing. You know, I think this Commonwealth arc, it's going to get very exciting. I am interested in what they're going to do with the Wall of the Lost storyline, because in the comic, it is such a big storyline, but there's not a lot of options here, right? I mentioned the Rick and Michonne thing. You could do something there, but yeah, I'm really interested in what Angela King plans to do. I hope it's not the Yumiko thing. Like, Yumiko had I don't know if it was a step sibling, nephew, niece, cousin, or whatever. She went missing. It was something like that. And I hope it's not the case where it's just her. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not, like, I like Yumiko. She's one of my favorites from Magna's group. Her and Connie are my absolute, and Luke as well. Them three they're my favorite of the new group. And the thing is, she's no Michonne. Like, I like Yumiko, but she's not Michonne. In the comic, when that happened with Michonne, it was so big. So I want something of that scale, and that really is like Dwayne Jones, which I don't think is really possible at this moment because Morgan's on the show, or they find out that Rick's alive somehow, if that's how they bring everything in. They could do something with Leah and with Daryl, right? Like, there could be something like a picture of Daryl where it says, "Have you seen my husband, partner," or something like that. Like, she could have wrote something there, but the issue with that is that she knows where Daryl could be, so wouldn't she just go back to the cabin, right, if she was looking for him? That's, you know, there's some issues there. So yeah, this Sunday, we're going to find out exactly what goes down with the Commonwealth. We're going to get a pretty good idea of what they're like. It's going to be pretty interesting. And it's all going to be through Princess's point of view. I hope that we don't get too much backstory, but regardless, we're actually going to see the Commonwealth for once. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to actually get into this story and hear them talk and just get more stuff with them, because like from the scenes that I've seen, they're talking on radios and everything's just so different. So yeah, anyways, I'll leave it here. Post your thoughts and your predictions for this Sunday's episode down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.